Hello, Gooner. This is game week 21, part 1. So the Premier League are doing this thing right now where they're trying to do a winter break, give the players some rest, which, if you ask me, is kind of silly. For two reasons. One, the simple issue of player fatigue is to stop them playing international games. It's that simple. Stop them playing international games during the season. You stop them doing that, and then it gives the season ends a bit shorter. They have a little bit of time for rest. And for the Euros or for African Cup of Nations or for the Asian Cup, you have a 2-week period where they play friendly games so that they can get fitness before the tournament starts. But that's besides the point. So we have some interesting games. I'm gonna go with the cold, the lukewarm, the not so interesting, the things that people don't want to hear first. For example, Burnley versus Luton. Burnley versus Luton was, if you're looking at a game where it's like, I want to watch something else, just watch something chill, see some good passing, see some physical play. That's what that game was. Burnley, for the large majority of the game, were playing beautiful football and were passing it through Luton. Luton were more physical and they were trying to play long balls, run behind, and it was really a championship game because those teams are championship clubs playing inside the Premier League. It was 1-1. Luton were able to get the equalizer towards the end of the game. If you ask me, that equalizer was not equalizer. It was a foul on the goalkeeper, but that's besides the point. That's what VAR's for. But is it what VAR's for? Because was that clear and obvious? Yes, it was clear and obvious mistake. The referee, wasn't able to figure that out during the run of play. I don't get it. But it is what it is. That's what the game is. To be honest, VAR was pretty much useless in that because it was clear and obvious if you ask me as a mistake, and they did nothing to overrule it, which means that the on-field ref made a mistake. They looked at it, told it, and it didn't really do anything. Does VAR really do something at this point? Please, inside the comment section below, tell me, does VAR actually do something in the game of football? And the other game I watched and really wanted to analyze and watch was I would say a lukewarm game. Aston Villa, I am being told by fellow I watch fellow content creators and they are telling me that these guys are challenging for the title / top 4, because at this point in time, if you ask me, this is not. I thought it was going to be a 3-legged race or a 3-horse race in the beginning of the season. I thought it was going to be between City, Liverpool, and my club, Arsenal. The Gooners have, if you ask me, Liverpool are, based on the way they've been playing and based on the fact that technically speaking they have not been defeated this season. They weren't defeated by the team, they were defeated by poor decisions, if you ask me, but they still suffered a loss. They have been the best or most consistent team this season. Arsenal, in terms of the people inside the title race, have been the most inconsistent, along with Man City. Villa have been consistent because at home they do not drop points, which is a consistent thing, right? So Villa's gone into this Everton game, and based on what people are telling me, not based on my eyes, not based on my past experience with the manager Unai Emery, I'm expecting them not to blitz Everton. Everton had that points deduction, and that's really galvanized the squad, brought them together as a unit. And with words and birds chirping around Onana's ear, you'd think that maybe he'd be distracted. He's showing some professionalism over here where he's able to be composed and still stay in the game and let those birds chirp in one ear and come out the other ear. And so he's doing a really good job there. And to be honest, Onana, I think, played a very good game. Would I want him at my club? No. But that's besides the point. I really think that Everton game, it was too 50-50 for me. And I feel like Villa need to, if they're trying to challenge for the league, that's a game that, regardless of how you play, you get one goal in and that's it. Score one goal, make your claim, and push forward. But they weren't able to do that, which kind of brings back all of the other clubs. And so if you're saying they're serious challengers, what they've done is that they've again opened the race, right? They've opened it up, right? And so if you're not taking them seriously as title contenders, they have not opened up the race. If you're taking them as top 4 contenders or European contenders, which is what I am, I feel like they can make the Europa League this year. I don't think they're going to make Champions League. And so if they're taking them at that face value, that consistency, then yeah, it's all right. And so what I would take from that game is that I don't think Villa are title contenders. And which leads me to the spicy game of Saturday, Man City versus Newcastle. I first want to start by saying Newcastle have, I believe, 14 injuries. And when I looked at that report, I don't think Tonali was counted as an injury. I think Tonali is just counted as a suspension. And so you add that to the mix as well. Like in terms of if you're a Newcastle fan, that first half, you're thinking in your head, Eddie Howe knows what he's doing. Eddie Howe is able to use what he has, which is lower resources, and get the most of your squad. Yes, you had a little bit of a break there, but Eddie Howe was able to get the best of his and make it a dirty fight. Take City out of the fight. City want to control the ball. That's their form of defense. They control the ball, pass the ball around. If you do not have 90% chance of the pass going through, Pep don't want you to make that pass. So the fact that Newcastle was able to make this a dogfight in a scrappy game means that they controlled the first half of the game. It doesn't matter about the possession rate. The fact that it was close, the fact that it was scrappy, the fact that at some points it was a basketball game. This game was really beautiful to watch. If you're neutral and you have no stakes in it, which technically speaking I am a neutral but I had some stakes in it, but it was a beautiful game of football to watch. Now, what's happened and where... This is the same thing that happened to Mikel Arteta, keep in mind, in the Liverpool versus Arsenal game at the Caparano Cup, or the English Cup, where you see the difference in ability of the managers. This is the difference between this game. You go at halftime, there's a discussion being had between the players and the manager. I don't know if it's a 50-50, I don't know if it's a back and forth, I don't know if it's one of those things where Pep just yelled at them and told them, what are you doing? You're away and you're playing to their hands. What are you doing? But when they came out in that second half, Rodri was trying to control the ball a bit more better than they were before. Phil Foden, I think Phil Foden had a really good performance. He's showing why he's better than Bukayo Saka, why he's the elder statesman to Bukayo Saka. And I would really want to say something to Gareth Southgate. Gareth Southgate, if you want England to do anything in these Euros, you have to utilize Phil Foden in a more advanced role. You could play both Saka and Phil Foden together. They do work, but maybe try and get Phil Foden in that attacking mid position. Because I really feel like he kind of, in that second half, him and Rodri were able to dictate play, and Bernardo Silva was able to continue what he did inside that first half, which, if you ask me, the goals in this game were beautiful. Gordon's goal, that colour was beautiful, and then the same, like, Edison's got, like, they're beautiful goals, but it's like the same goal twice, like from the same flank as well. Like, come on, man. Like, the defending for both of them was pretty awful too, but the goals in this game was beautiful. Bernardo Silva's flick as well. It's truly beautiful football we were watching here. But Eddie Howe let Newcastle fans down. He let his players down as well, because he was not able to not find a solution, but keep up the work he was doing. And when he saw that he was unable to keep up the good work that they were doing, when he saw the game was being controlled more, he did not make any changes. He did not adjust his run of play. And at that point, when you're bringing Kevin De Bruyne on, I had a thing on Twitter where, like, basically Mandem, one of the Mandem was messaging and said that, oh yeah, like Kevin De Bruyne is gonna come through, and then as soon as he comes through, he's gonna be the one that changes the game. He's gonna be the X factor. He's gonna be the one that cements the script. And I was like, can Kevin De Bruyne, with no match fitness, come on in that second half, really, like, take the game by the scruff of the neck? No one's going to hold it against him if he doesn't. You can come in and have a 6 or 7 out of 10 performance, and no one's going to hold it against him. And he came on, and 10 out of 10, no, 11 out of 10. He came on, he did not look like he was on ball, ridiculous. On ball, come on, the placement of that shot between the legs so that the defender is blocking the view of the keeper through the legs, bottom corner, and you're just like, wow, that's amazing. Kevin De Bruyne is out of this world. He's the best. Him and Mohamed Salah are the two best players of the Premier League, and it's been that way for 3+ years. And then the assist that he gave to Oscar Bob, that pass was pinpoint. Oscar Bob had a lot of work to do though, because the pass was beautiful, but you have to control the ball in order for you to get to attacking position. And then he beats his man with a la crochette, or a double tap, as as we like to call in FIFA, the double tap. And he just slots it in, double tap in. And I just think, in terms of a neutral, this has got to be one of the... Is this the second best game of the season? And I feel like Man City has been involved in 4 of the... No, yeah, 4 of the best games of the season. That Chelsea game was crazy too. And that's where I want to maybe ask a question. Yes, they won. Yes, Eddie Howe messed up. He didn't make enough changes. I believe he didn't make a substitution until like the 80th minute, which is like, when you have Kevin De Bruyne coming in the 65th minute, you have to bring someone in to figure that out. You have to do. You should have had that written down. It's like, oh, if Kevin De Bruyne comes in, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get someone in to be physical on him and someone that's fresh. He didn't do that, and so that's where he failed. But where he succeeded was in that first half. Game of football was played in 2 halves. Pep was able to show why he's a world-class manager and play the game in 2 halves. But a question has to be raised. Okay, Liverpool are not Arsenal. At the moment, they seem to be firing. Okay, not at their capacity, not at their rate, but they seem to be firing. If they have chances, they can take them. Tottenham Hotspur, I will respect Tottenham today. They also are able to, take their chances and create a little bit more chances as well. So the question I'm raising here is, with those 2 games that City have to play, right? Are they going to... Well, Kevin De Bruyne is going to be a little bit more fit, but the question I'm raising here is, the performance they had against Newcastle is unacceptable in the first half. I personally think that's unacceptable. Pep obviously drilled into him and told him that's unacceptable. But my question is this title race going to be more harder than people think? People think that Kevin De Bruyne is going to come in, and they saw what happened, and they believe that because he can do that, it's all over, that they're going to go on a 15-game, 16-game run. And I don't think that's the case. My question is, do we think this is going to be closer than expected? Okay? And when I mean closer, do we think it's going to be the same as we've seen in the last 4 or 5 seasons, or 2 after December? When it gets to February is when the 2 teams break away from the top 4 contenders or the European contenders and have a title race? Or we're going to see that it is going to take maybe till March for people to break away, or even April for people to break away. And that's what I believe is going to happen. I believe Liverpool are the most consistent at the moment. If anything, it will be like the COVID season when Liverpool just break away. And I believe that Liverpool are the clear favourites right now to win the league. For me, they are the clear favourites. And second will be Man City. I also believe that Spurs and Arsenal are in the same race, or are on the same level this season. We have to disregard what happened last season and look at what we're seeing now, and look at the fact that there are no solutions for anything, and they're the same. I think they're inside the same boat, which leads me to a lukewarm game. I would say the Man City game was the hot game of this week, and the Man United and Spurs game was hot, but it wasn't as hot. The second half was, you could tell it was going to be 2-2 after the first 10 minutes of the second half. Man United came out sprinting. Marcus Rashford. Actually, no. Let me go back. Bruno Fernandes in this game was beautiful. people say that Bruno Fernandes has no off-ball skill. When you're playing attacking mid, why do you need to have off-ball skill when you're able to find the space he found to find Rashford the way he did? Those balls are X factors. It's something Arsenal do not have. It's something Villa does not have. And those balls, and able to find, look up, scan, and find the correct pass like that right off the bat in the very beginning of the game. You haven't even warmed up. You haven't figured out the pace of the game. You don't need to figure out the pace of the game. When you have that, you may not be world class, but that attribute is world class. Does that make sense? As an overall player, you're not world class, but that attribute was world class to find that pass. He found the pass. Rashford was able to sprint into the space, and then he ran in. As usual, Rashford was looking down. He wasn't looking for nobody. He was trying to get the shot off, but then he realized he couldn't. There was too much space, and he did the laziest, crappiest back heel, Toyland. You're not expecting what happens next. No one's expecting that. Tell me you watched that game and you were expecting that. You didn't expect it. Hoyland hit it. It went top bins, and from there, you're thinking Man United are probably going to park the bus. They don't park the bus. They're actually playing the best football they've played all season. And what happens from here is Spurs is able to get Richarlison, that chicken Brazilian, to get a header in. Or should I even say Richard? He's just Richard in it. To get a nice header in, and he gets it from the corner. Pedro Porro showing his qualities again as, I believe, the third best right back inside the league. First best is Kyle Walker. Second best is Trent. And from there, what we're getting is a good display from both teams. Timo Werner actually performed to what I thought he would do. I thought he would work in this Ange system. He didn't play off striker, he plays off the left. And like he was able to do in Chelsea, he was able to run off of defenders and run into space and really attack them. He actually got a really good assist in this game as well, because I believe, was it Pedro Porro again? That guy is crazy. In the comment section, we need to have this discussion. This is obviously one season, but Pedro Porro is really having a season, isn't he? But it wasn't him that scored the goal. It was Bentancur. At the moment, Bentancur is getting fitness back, and then the pass back that Werner was able to do, he cut back into to Bentancur, and he was able to take the one-time shot, which went past Onana. At this point, you just have to shoot against Onana and it goes in. As long as it's on target and it has some pace and it's maybe a one-time shot, you can score. That's pretty much about it. He's okay defender. I mean, not defender, goalkeeper, but that's pretty much about it. And to sum up the whole game, after half, I knew it was just going to be 2-2. So, one thing I would say, Man United fans, I believe that in order for you to progress, Ineos, Jim Radcliffe, you're watching, Rashford needs to leave this team. He did score a goal. He did assist a goal. But you should have won this game if he had the ability to look up. This is something that Martinelli does not have. You don't have the tactical awareness to look up and analyze the play. People say that scan rate is a stat that doesn't matter. It does matter. It shouldn't be a stat that's glorified, but it matters. Why it matters is you should be able to look up and see the acres of space that Højlund is always in and get that pass off. If you're not able to get the pass off, right, that's one thing. But to attempt to get the pass off, knowing that once you get that off, it's on him and he has the space to score, right? Versus you having two men on you and having no space to score. That's the better decision. He lacks decision making. He lacks scan rate. He lacks the ability to look up and make these good decisions and merge the scan rate and the decision making together. That's where the scan rate works, is you look up, you assess the situation, and you make a good decision. And I'm going to end off over here. But what I'm going to end off with is, this is the first time we're having a winter break. If you're Arsenal, if you're Liverpool, you are pissed off because although you're in Dubai chilling in the sun, getting some well-needed rest, you're pissed off because these teams have played. Now you have pressure on you that usually would hang for a couple of days, but now it's going to hang for a week. Now you have the pressure to win after a week. Let me know if you feel like that's going to be a factor in how the next half of games go. But this is YEG Gooner. Thank you for listening to me. Like and subscribe. Peace.